Hey guys, game developer here, Jason Chung, and we have a very special hero spotlight today. Today I'll be showcasing Viserai OTK. What OTK means is I'm going to be generating a lot of rune chants throughout the game, and I'm going to kill my opponent in one singular turn. Now, usually Viserai wants to be generating rune chants and playing it out every turn, pressuring your opponent. But this deck actually plays a completely different way. We're mainly a defensive control deck, and our win condition is going to be attacking once and dealing enough damage to put our opponent from ideally 20 to 0. Today we'll be playing against 8th ranked player Karol, and he's going to be piloting Ira Crimson Haze. Now, one thing that's really important with this deck is you're not under any pressure to actually be doing damage or generating rune chants. You want to be as patient as possible and think about each life that you have as potentially another turn. And I don't want to be rushing to get to 40 rune chants. That's not what the deck is about. The deck is about getting enough rune chants to kill my opponent. Now against Ira in particular, we want to be defending very, very aggressively. You see I'm defending with my read the runes here. And you see I use Sink Below Blue, and we're going to be putting a Sigil Solace to the bottom. Now you may think I could just be playing the Sigil Solace and going up to 23 life, but Ira plays with multiple Sigil Solaces in his deck, and we do not want to go above 20 life if possible. We want to ensure that our opponent cannot gain any life, as we have Reaping Blade out. Reaping Blade reads that if an opponent is on higher, if a player is on higher life, they cannot gain life. So on our first turn, we're going to be activating Grasp. Now we're not, like I said before, we're not in a rush to be generating a lot of rune chants. So what we actually want to be doing is utilizing Grasp while we can, and basically be able to be efficient and make rune chants whenever it's possible. Now on my first turn, I'm actually going to be pitching a reduce the rune chant at a chains, and then just making one rune chant using our oath, which is usually a resource card and a card that just defends for free, but being able to get a rune chant out of it is pretty nice. We don't need to be arsenaling every turn. We just want to make sure we are going to make our ideal amount of rune chants and take as minimal damage as possible. Here I'm going to be defending very, very heavily, and I'm actually going to be defending with my whole hand. It's not very important for us to be making rune chants every turn. Against Ira can at most have 12 points of defense in his hand, 4 defense in the arsenal where it's be any defend for 4, and the combination of Mask and a Tunic with a counter means at most Ira can defend for 20 rune chants. What this means is when we do our combo kill, we have to be able to do 40 or more damage to them, which you'll see later in the video hopefully. Now Karol attacks with a Kodachi. We want to be going down below 20. Now at this point, Karol is unable to play any Sigil of Solace and gain life of it. This is very important because this means we do not need as much rune chants on our OTK turn. Now again, I'm going to be defending heavily, waiting until I get these big turns of actually generating lots of rune chants, but we're not really in a rush here. Now in my hand I have a red Sunkus. Now you could easily just play it and go up to 20 life, but I do not want to be doing this. If I play it now, what happens is Karol would then be able to Sigil, as the Reaping Blade effects will be turned off. Now we actually see Karol did draw a red Sigil and used it this turn. Now even though we only have now 3 rune chants and we're on 16, I feel like I'm really firmly in control of this game. I want to be just blocking a lot and basically trying to set up very nice turns. We draw our Remembrance really early, and that's not a card that I actually want in my hand early on. So I want to be playing out basically what we can but we're not in a rush to cast all our read the runes immediately. The way this deck is built out, we're going to probably be having at least like 20 turns throughout the game. So every turn, if we think about a turn cycle, after a whole turn cycle, I would just want to be up on rune chance or up on life, and that is a fine turn cycle to have. You may also notice that I'm not even remotely touching my equipments here. Equipments serve a very important role in the Viserai deck. We're not going to be using it until we have cast in our Rune Blood barrier, as we want to protect our rune chance from being destroyed when we have a Rune Blood barrier turn. Here I actually draw the second remembrance after arsenaling the remembrance, and you want to try to get this out of your hand and to the bottom deck immediately, unless you have a lot of powerful cards in your graveyard to actually shuffle back. Here I actually have an opening, as finally Karol has a less pressure in turn. Ira in general actually can't pressure every turn. They have some very explosive turns, and we want to be ready for those turns and make sure we defend. I'm electing not to remembrance. Just basically there's no real cards in my graveyard I want to be returning back. The key cards I want to be returning back is Red Mortar Tide, Red Read the Runes, Chains of Eminence, and also the Ninth Blade, which is our finisher. But at this point, reducing the cards in the deck is actually very favourable for us. Now I deem this turn not very good for setting up a Rune Blood barrier, so we're just going to be defending with a bunch of cards. We're defending with all our Read Runes and Rune Blood barriers. We know we have Remembrance to shuffle them back in if needed, and we just want to play a really patient game here. I want to remove these remembrances out of my hand arsenal as soon as possible. We're playing 2 remembrances, so the first one's kind of like a throwaway. Now we're going to be shuffling back some Read the Runes as well as this Chains. Chains will be a very key part of like killing our opponent, as it can act as at minimum 2 extra damage, but more if we need to go for like a kill immediately. We're going to be Chains naming a card that's multiple in the deck. Against Ira, the 2 cards I like to name is either Mask of Momentum, as it's guaranteed 2 damage, as Mask would not be able to block, or we want to be naming Flip Flat just for a chance to have multiple Flip Flats in their hand. Throughout the game I'll be playing, we'll be defending with lots of Reduce to Rune chance. This is guaranteed points of rune chance basically, as well as being able to just prevent damage overall. Karol here goes for a big Enlightened Strike turn, and we're just going to, so we have Mordred Tide and Read the Runes in our hand, and we have a choice here between actually taking the damage or not. Now Karol used Go again on the Enlightened Strike, and at this point I was thinking he has a Command and Conquer to play straight afterwards, so I wanted to actually keep the Ninth Blade and a Mordred Tide, and I was planning to double block a Command and Conquer, but what Karol actually had was a Torrent of Tempo red. I at first elected to take 2 damage from the red Torrent of Tempo, wanting to preserve my Mordred Tide Read the Runes combo. Now that he's played a Pounding Gale, my choice here is either be blocking with my equipments, being able to play out my combo, or actually blocking with Mordred Tide here, only making less Read the Runes but preserving my equipment. I'm choosing to block with Mordred Tide. Mordred Tide in essence makes about 3 rune chance, as it duplicates a Read the Runes to make 2 more, and also your Viserai's hair ability. So we're just casting a Read the Runes here, generating us 3 more rune chance. So what we did with the Mordred Tide was we chose to preserve our equipment of 3 defense rather than making 3 rune chance. Since the metagame right now involves a lot of Ira and some amount of Kano, having defend for 2s in your deck is not the worst, as long as it's not in like an abundance. So we're playing with Chains here, and we know most of the time we do actually want to be blocking the second Tadashi hit. Now after that big turn from Karol, he finally has a slower turn, only attacking with Rushing River Blue, and here's where we really want to be capitalizing on it. We've defended the entire game, preserving our life total, knowing at some point we're going to get an opening, and here we're going to be playing Runeblood Barrier, and we're going to immediately shuffle in Remembrance. We're putting back in Mordred Tide's Knife Blades. We want to ensure there are 2 Knife Blades in the deck, especially against Ira, and this is important because it is the one card that actually stops Find Center, and Find Center would actually stop our combo from working. Additionally, this allows us to arsenal a card. We want to be arsenaling a defense reaction on a turn we play Runeblood Barrier. This is really important for defending our rune chants. The ideal number of rune chants we want to be making against Ira is around 31. This lets us attack for 40 using Ninth Blade as well. So as we see here, since we played a Runeblood Barrier, I'm going to be defending heavily. So this Arcanite Skullcap essentially turned into a rune chant because it's defending against Runeblood Barrier. Now even though we're at 6 life, we still have all of our Sigil of Solaces and Sunkiss left in the deck, and we have a lot of equipment, and we're not under any pressure at all. So we arsenal this reduced to rune chant last turn, and this helps us defend against this Runeblood Barrier turn. Because Ira and also other decks have to play so much defense reactions, they can't pressure us every single turn. There will always be some openings. So as soon as they don't end up attacking very much, we want to be taking this opportunity to either be buffering up our life total or creating rune chants. In this case, overall in the turn we managed to make some rune chants using a barrier and gain 3 life with Sigil. You see Karol is now pitching Sigil of Solaces. He can play them out but gain no life, but it's really important that we just never went above 20 or 220 since the start of the game. Karol's playing a Pounding Gale here, and I'm going to sink below, putting the Ninth Blade down to the bottom of my deck. Now sink below, because we don't actually pitch very much, sink below is a very good card in our deck. We get to control what's at the bottom, especially if we've played both Remembrance out already. And what you want to be doing is putting a Chains and a Ninth Blade down to the very bottom. What this achieves is on our kill turn, we get to get that extra 2 damage from Chains and ensure that we go through our entire deck and just make sure we have the right amount of cards before we go for combo turn. Here we have a very big turn of double Mordred Tide and Read the Runes. Now it may look like I just got lucky drawing these pieces together, but what I've been doing at the start of the game is I've been defending heavily, and then I Remembrance these back into my deck. The deck size is below 15 cards, and the chance of drawing a Mordred Tide and a Read the Runes together just increases quite a bit. Now we want to be continuing defending, and defending with Read the Runes here is fine. We know that we are now at 27 rune chants, and we just have to generate an extra 4 rune chants and we would be able to go for the kill. We can even generate less if we know that we're going to be chaining his mask on our kill turn. One of the more important things is having our equipment still up, because on our turn that we're killing him, we want to be keeping 1 or 2 cards in our hand, and it's not good for us to be dying as a result. Now one of our best ways to be countering Command and Conquer in this matchup, which Karol has right now, as we play a lot of defense reactions, is actually not arsenaling very important cards very often. You want to arsenal a Sigil of Solace a lot, and in this case we just don't even have an arsenal. Now I'm defending with these 2 equipments now, even though it's just defending damage, and this is because I know the game ends is really soon, and we don't want to get ourselves into a situation where we can't defend twice with these equipments. So since the end is near, we're going to be defending with these equipments, ensuring the first defense is happening, and we're going to be able to defend for 1 again now. And now we're sigil back up to an healthy 8 life. Now on this turn, I have drawn my chains and knife blade, and this is because I set it up earlier with my sink below. Now I just have to survive this turn, so I've moved the cards that I know I'm going to defend with, and we have a bunch of equipment. As long as we don't die this turn, we're going to be able to kill Karol no matter what he has. Now we currently have 30 rune chance. We can actually go up to 31 using a reduce the runes, but we don't actually need to go up to 31. So here we're going to be defending this card for 5, forcing either Razor Reflex or a Snapdragon Scalers. We've kept this reduced to rune chant for this purpose, and it puts us to 31, which is the magic number to deal 40 damage, especially when Karol doesn't have a tunic. But even if we didn't have this many rune chants, because we have this chains, we can be chaining a Master Momentum for the kill. So here I'm just going to defend the Command and Conquer, but we're still in a very healthy life total of 4. The Command and Conquer attacking for 7 due to Ara's hair ability. And now we're going to go in for the kill. We have the sufficient amount of rune charts. So we're going to play Chains of Elements. We're naming Master of Momentum, and now we're attacking for 39 of them in arcane damage. And what the Chains does is actually stops Master of Momentum from defending. We don't have to risk it by naming a card we don't know is in his hand. And this is a little bit of an overkill, but Karol can only defend 8, and we have the kill here. So all in all, this matchup is very, very good for Viserai. There's probably not like a matchup in Flesh of Blood that's like this lopsided, and one of the main reasons is you can control Ara's pressure very well, and you only have to generate rune chants like whenever you see fit. You don't want to put any pressure. You don't need to like put pressure on yourself by feeling you have to cast read the runes whenever you draw them. You just have to make sure you get to this magic number of 31. Control your sigils. Control your remembrances. Make sure you always remembrance power cards, and make sure you always have Knife Blade in your deck. And just don't ever go above 19 life. All right, that's it. That's it for today, and hopefully you guys can pick up Viserai OTK and bring it to your local army event, or maybe this is the deck for you in our upcoming skirmish events.